Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bad Creepypasta, the Halloween special. So sit back and enjoy these 3 really bad creepypastas that I handpicked just for you, and only for you, because, well, you're cool.
Franklin. An old cartoon that used to air on Nick Jr. back in the late 90s and early 2000s, based on the old children's books by Brenda Clark and Paulette Berg-Wah. It was a pretty typical kid show. Talking animals, a bit of comedy, and learning some life lesson at the end of the episode. I remember I used to watch it all the time as a kid. I've always had a love of animals. That's probably what hooked me on it way back when. Yet the love I used to have for this harmless kids show all died in me after I saw it. No, not it. It. This. I don't know how something so unholy, so gruesome could be allowed to be shown on television. I've heard of things like this before, like lost episodes. You may all pass this one off as a normal creepypasta story, but let me tell you, it's indeed real. I pray none of you ever see this vile distortion of children's entertainment. Yet the images of what I saw haunt me in my nightmares. Very oddly specific, not just dreams, but, nightmares. I have regular dreams on the side. Perhaps if I tell you about it, I can get some closer. You mean closure? Because this doesn't mean shit, man. You probably mean closure. Anyway. And also warn you about the lost episode of Franklin. I suppose I'll start with how I can witnessing this horrid program. My little sister has this babysitting job certain days for the week. And usually she doesn't get home till 6:30 or 7. Yet when she shit fucking tit cunt. Yet when she she has to do her homework. Since she can't do it while watching some little kids, How can you do any homework when you're watching little shits picking their noses and flinging diapers at each other and shit? That's pretty much the age group my channel's garnered, since creepypasta seems popular in that age group. Also, she had to use the computer for it, which so happens to be in my room. Thus, I'm banished to the living room while she does her schoolwork. I kinda want to do the rest of the story with the iDubbbz European accent. Thus, I'm banished to the living room while she does her schoolwork. So there I was, just me and my TV. I surfed through the guide a bit, looking for anything worth a damn. But Mr. Edoops, what's the point of getting all the extra channels from Cokes if there isn't anything worth watching? A bit pissed because I'd be here for a while. My sister had to do a project, so she'd definitely be in there for more than an hour at least, I bet. And boy, would I have won that bet big time. It was around 9:30 at night now. I asked when she'd been done, only to get the vague answer, I'm almost there. Yeah, almost halfway there, I thought to myself. Thus, I was back at the TV. As I scrolled through the channel, something popped out at me. There it was. Franklin. I thought this show got canceled, I said to myself. It must have been some type of special, I assumed, hence why it was on so late. Call it nostalgia, or call it laziness for not bothering to see if there was anything better on. I decided to watch it. The episode starts off normal enough. That opening, "Hey, it's Franklin" song, which I gotta say sounded a bit dorky to me now, but whatever. Then things got fucked up, to say the least. The episode starts off with an image of woodland, the home of Franklin and all his family and friends. It's a cloudy day, almost like it's about to rain. The scene then fades to all the parents of the child animals in the show outside somewhere. Franklin's parents, bears, beavers, etc. The only ones with an apostrophe S missing were Mr. Fox and Mr. Owl. Also, there are no children other than Badger, Bear's little sister, and Franklin's little sister. Also, Badger, who usually just has to use crutches to get around because she has cerebral palsy, is now in a wheelchair and had a broken arm. Everyone is crying. I don't understand why. Suddenly the scene changes. We're shown a normal sunny day along with a road. A school bus drives, and I was then shown the inside of it. Was this written by like a 9-year-old or some shit? Franklin and all his friends, along with their teacher Mr. Owl and the bus driver Mr. Fox. Mr. Owl's talking about a museum field trip the class is going on. All the students are excited, of course, in their own ways. Bear's wondering what type of food will be there. Beaver's being a snotty know-it-all, claiming she knows everything about place. Yeah, everything about place, time, and space, and all that wonderful, wonderful shit. You know, that's for damn sure. Fox wants to see the dinosaur exhibit. And of course, Franklin just wonders what the whole place will be like. Yet suddenly, Mr. Fox begins to clench his chest in pain. The bus swerves a bit as he starts to gasp for air. He's having a heart attack. Dad! Fox cries out in worry. Dad! A few of the other children scream in terror. Mr. Owl gets up and tries to get to the bus driver. Yet Mr. Fox falls off the driver's seat and the bus drives off the road down a steep hill. Mr. Owl falls to the floor of the bus and cries in pain. As he gets up, I saw he had a pencil in his left eye, perhaps from falling on someone's book bag. Bear pukes at the horror of this. Right on Franklin. Who then freaks out and gets out of his seat, only to then crash into Mr. Owl and Mr. Fox. As he does, through his arm hits the steering wheel, causing the bus to turn over and over as it goes down the hill ever more. In the bus, the children are crashing into everyone and everything on the bus, broken glass from windows flying into the bodies all over. Snail even got sent flying out an open window, his shell crushing it to bits, along with a shard of glass going through his neck. Eventually, the bus crashes into some trees at the bottom of the hill, and I'm shown the carnage in the bus. Glass piercing almost everyone, bodies bent in unnatural ways, the whole 9 yards. A few seconds later, a bloody, battered, and bruised Badger crawls out of the bus, only to look back and watch it burst into flames and explode moments after. The scene goes back to the parents and few kids who I now see are all in a cemetery, mourning the loss of all their family and friends. The episode ended after that. Yet in the credits, which would normally show apart from the episode, it instead showed a tombstone with the words, R.I.P. Franklin and Friends. The end.
Next pasta.
Ben's emulation story. So, I have an N64, no joke. But I have no copy of Majora's Mask or the expansion pack to play it, so I use emulators, and that's what inspired me to write this. It was a normal day over Christmas break, really cold, and I'm just in bed. I wanted to play a game, but being the dummy that I am, I didn't bring my N64. I wanted to play Majora's Mask, but I beat the 3D remake and didn't have the original. So I played it on an emulator. I got the ROM from emuparadise.com, which is a trustworthy site. The rims were overall normal, except this one. I hadn't known this one downloading, but it was an emulated version of Jadu Sable's Haunted Majora's Mask. After downloading, I downloaded it to my PC just in case my phone died. I booted it up and saw something weird. It was the intro scene and the fog was blue. I thought the ROM was glitchy, which isn't uncommon, so I shrugged it off. I don't really feel like explaining the rest, which is why I have 3 videos here, here, and here, by the way, which are all taken down. So, you know, so much for not explaining it in the story, dumbass. This was far too creepy, so I tried playing on PC. It was Far from different. I shut down my computer and turned it back on in an attempt to fix the problem. That only made it worse. But that wasn't my first thought upon startup. Everything appeared to be working fine. Skype booted, LogMe and Hamachi, even Chrome. But an unrecognizable program also booted. Something called Ben. It was a glitched out picture I couldn't make out until I stared for like 3 seconds. It was the Elegy of Emptiness statue, aka Ben, with pitch black, empty eye sockets, and blood dripping from them. Above Ben himself, in the Zelda font, it said, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" And when I pressed the close button, a bunch of error messages popped up in an order that was possibly Ben trying to tell me something. Here's what they were. You shouldn't have done that. You're not sure why, but you apparently had a reservation. Dawn of a new day. I. Because I don't know the correct Roman numeral for 5. Go to the lair of the temple's boss. The counter resets. The window didn't close, it stayed there. There was no close button, and the program didn't appear in the taskbar. There was no way to end it. Ben was trying to say something. He wanted me to delete the emulators, phone, and PC. I wish I had known that at the time. I only deleted the one on my PC. It was around that time I had to get my new phone. I'm stuck with him forever. I shouldn't have done that. I should have tried Control-Alt-Delete. Shit. Candle Cove, a possibility. Janice didn't have a lot of toys, but she loved them very much, and Speakeasy loved them too. That was Janice's name for her anyway. She never told her mother her name. Janice asked one day, and the voice said that she wasn't supposed to tell anyone her name. Janice understood because one had to be very careful around strangers. So Janice tried her best not to be a stranger so the girl on the wall would tell Janice her name. But the girl on the wall said that she wasn't supposed to tell anyone her real name, ever. So Janice called her Speakeasy after a word she heard once. She didn't like to talk too much, but she liked to watch Lydia play with her toys. Who the fuck is Lydia? It's Janice. Oh, that's a mistake. A little slip of the tongue or slip of the fingers. Tell me a story, said Speakeasy one day, when the TV was broken. She liked to watch with Janice, but the TV broke one day and they didn't have the money to get a new one. So Janice understood. She read Speakeasy her favorite books, but she was learning to read. She read Speakeasy her favorite books, but she was still learning to read, so she ran out pretty quick. Speakeasy said, "Tell me a story. Make one up like they do on TV." So Janice played with her toys for Speakeasy, and she told a little story, and Speakeasy liked it. Well, Speakeasy never said she liked anything, but she could tell because she told Janice to turn on the TV to a channel that was just static even when the TV worked, and when she did, a TV show came on, and it was all about Janice and her toys. It was called Candle Cove, and it was a wonderful present. And Janice thanked Speakeasy. Mom thought it was nice to see her play pretend, but could she please keep the TV turned off next time, because they had electric bills to think about. And Janice was a good girl and promised her mother she wouldn't. Speakeasy said that even if she couldn't watch TV, she could still make the show for Janice. Other kids might find out and like it too. It would be a gift everyone could enjoy. And Janice liked that idea very much and thanked Speakeasy a whole lot as she went to bed that night full of happy thoughts, thinking about stories she could tell about her pirates. So for the summer, Janice and Speakeasy told the story of Pirate Percy and the Laughingstock, and the bad guy Horace Horrible. One day, it was a Saturday, Speakeasy asked Janice if someone new could join in. Janice said yes. Speakeasy gave Janice a new toy. It was a little skeleton puppet. His eyes were too big and he had a brown hat and a brown cape. When Janice touched him, he was cold. Speakeasy said he had been mean to her, but Speakeasy learned his real name, and it was the Skin Taker, Skin Talker. Because where she was from, the word for take was the same as the one for talk, because to take you have to talk. What the fuck? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Janice didn't understand. Speakeasy talked the Skin Talker's name, and she took the Skin Taker as her own, and now the Skin Taker, Skin Talker was Janice's because Janice was a good friend who told very good stories. That sentence was all over the place. Can I just break for a second to say someone down here made a real good point. He says I like the breathless falling over sentences authorial style you chose, and yeah, it's shit. And so Janice made the Skin Taker jiggle and go boo. And Pirate Pete, even though he was very scared, outsmarted him all the time. And the Skin Talker and Horace Horrible would gab about how they'd get him one day and they'd always lose, because good guys win in the end. That made Speakeasy very happy. One day Janice woke up and went to talk to her mom, and she wasn't there even though she was supposed to be in bed. Because she got done working at the diner at 3 and she would come home and sleep so she would be ready for the laundry at 9, and Janice was supposed to help her wake up. And Janice was very afraid, but Speakeasy said it was alright. Her mom was okay. She would have called, but she didn't have a dime for the phone booth, and every dime counted. So Janice ate some yogurt because she wasn't tall enough to get the cereal off the top of the icebox, and she played with Speakeasy. Her mom wasn't back the next day. Or the next day. And Janice didn't want to play because she was scared. She wanted her mom back, but she didn't know where she was, and she tried to call the police, but when she picked up the phone, there wasn't a tone or anything, and when she tried to call, nothing happened, and Speakeasy said the phone wouldn't work anymore. Janice opened the door, and outside the door there was just static. Just static. Static from the end of the porch to forever, forever, going on forever, like the world and the people in the sky had just become static, and she screamed, and she shut the door, and she screamed, and she cried, and she cried. And Speakeasy said that she was bored, and that she wanted Janice to tell a story. Janice said she wanted to wake up and see her mommy again. Speakeasy showed Janice her mommy. She tried her best, but there wasn't a lot left, so she added a little from memory. But she didn't remember things like people did. She showed Janice, and Janice screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed. Oh my god, this writing is terrible. You don't have to repeat words like that, oh my god. And Speakeasy said she was bored. And she threw the TV open. And she stepped out. And every sentence for the rest of the story is going to begin with the word "and." Seriously, you're using the word "and" a little too liberally in this story. She picked up Janice by her neck with a hand that had 2 thumbs and 3 claws because she was trying to look human, but she wasn't very good at it. And she found Pirate Percy, who was in the kitchen. And she found the laughingstock, which was in the bathtub. And she found Horace Horrible, who was in Janice's reading chair. And she found the Skin Taker, Skin Talker. I don't know why you have to use both terms. That's just... that's retarded. And she found the Skin Taker, Skin Talker, who was saying horrible words at Speakeasy, but they were words Janice wanted to say now too. And Speakeasy walked through the TV and closed it behind her. And not that Janice would ever know, but the door would open at last, and when the police came in to investigate the screams, there was blood and words and eyes on every wall, and they would never know that it was not blood from something that hadn't ever been on Earth. And they would never know that Janice and her mom did not die that day. Or that they would not ever die now. Not where Speakeasy took them. There were some kids who saw the last Candle Cove on TV that day. They were afraid because it was just Janice and her friends screaming, screaming, screaming because they knew. They knew everything now. And Speakeasy was waiting for them to tell the story, and when their time was up, when the show was over, it was really over. It was over forever and ever. Ugh. That was a hard one to read. Oh my god. I could barely catch a breath. Go read this one for yourself. It is fucking heinous. Ugh. 1 out of 5 dog shits, seriously. No offense to any of the writers in this, but just, you know, do better. All right, do better. Don't give up. Do better. That's I don't want to ruin your fun. I'm just saying, you know, do better. I'm sorry, and I apologize if any of you wrote any of these that I was the one who ruined your day, but just, you know, I hope you get better. Not just for the sake of the readers, but for your own good as well. Anyway, that's been the Bad Creepypastas Halloween special. Hope you all enjoyed. Got to look at 3 stinky turds today. Yeah. All right. See ya.